Welcome everyone. Today we're going to discuss about primitive JavaScript data types. And primitive JavaScript data types can be separated in 5 different categories. So we are going to do that. So I'm just going to close this one. And in our JS folder, let's create an additional file called variables.js. So we're going to learn about variables. This lecture is about variables and data types. Very good. Now, there are 5 different data types, and I'm just gonna create multiple comments here. The first is string. Now, that is sequence of characters used for a text. The second one is number. The number can be like integer, decimals, or point numbers. So you will see this, don't worry about it. The third one will be Boolean. And Boolean means logical, true or false. And the number 4 will be undefined. And you will see what the undefined means. And the next one will be null. So also mean non-existent. So undefined is data type of a variable that does not have a value yet. Right, it's a difference between null and this one. So I just save that file, and let's start working with variables. So the first thing you need to know is we need to create a variable. So how are we creating variable? So first we type var and the name of the variable. For example, my first name. In mine, I'm using camel case. So I'm starting with a lower, and that the second word, I'm just using the capital N, right? That is called camel case. If you don't know, just read it. So the first name, let's call it Peter. And I just want this one to be in single quotes. Now, in JavaScript, you can do single or double quotes. Doesn't matter. It will work. But now, most of the times you will see me single quotes. But if I do use double quotes, don't worry. It will still work. Now, I have done this. And so mostly you want camel case notation. So I have this one here as a string. So what we can do, we can actually console log this one. We can print out this value. So how we can do this? So console log, remember last time, you just put it as a string here, like saying blah, 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 but we're not gonna do that. So we're just gonna pass in this variable here. So that's why we're learning variables. Very good. Now if I save this, nothing will happen because here I need to initiate the script because that is under different name. It's called variables.js, and I need to remove that rest of the part. So I do have 2 scripts, and one is running after the other. What we have in this one is actually hello world from the external file, JS file, or we can say for external scripts, JS file, and this one is from there. Okay, now what I can do, I can just make it here console log printing the value from the variable. Now this is how we can create a variable, and we can pass in value to this variable. So that is pretty much it. Now, I do have linked this in our index.html. So if I refresh, so printing the value from the variable, very good, and the value is Peter. So if you don't want to see this, actually, looks kind of ugly, we're going to just comment this one, and it's not going to work there. It's not going to be there. So Peter is the name. Now, this is from the type string. Right, because we are passing a sequence of characters. Now let's create another variable here on top and saying, okay, I just want to have old, and I will just put a 33 because I'm 33 at this moment. Now, or years or whatever you want to put there. Now I just say old and 33. See, this is not in single quotes or in double quotes. That means it's a number. Now I can just console log old, and it should give me these 33. How awesome is this? See, it's different color. In mine is green. your can be blue or different color, right? Now I have variables old, I have variables first name, so I have a string, I have a number. Now the second thing that I want to have is I'm gonna say, okay, var, so check, no, it's not gonna check, I'm gonna say alien. Okay, this is so strange. So if I do it like this, it's gonna be undefined, but I'm gonna say, am I alien, true or false? Because Boolean accept two values. So remember this, the number 3 is a Boolean, and we say, okay, the Boolean, it can accept two values, true and false. So the data type can be only true or false. So am I alien? I guess not. I'm not. I'm just a normal human being just like you. So console log, and we're just gonna say alien, and don't forget this one at the end. So it will give me false. If you are an alien, in just in case, and you put it as true, it will change this, and if you refresh, it will be true there. Very good. Now I'm just gonna return back to what it was. Now next one that I'm gonna say it's undefined. So let's say, okay, so you have a first name, we have the how old are you, you're not alien, and we're gonna say var, and we're gonna say non-value, and I'm just gonna not define it, because the right part of the equal operator means defining a value, defining or assigning a value. That's how you call it in the programming language or everywhere. You're assigning a value to a variable. This is how we assign a string. This is how we assign a number. This is how we assign a Boolean value. And so now we are undefined. So what you think will happen if I print just non-value? Let's save it. Let's refresh. And sure it does. It's saying not undefined variables. So this one here, it's telling me from where it comes from. It's saying variables.js 20 semicolon 9. Now that 20 is the line number, right? 20 line number. So I do have this line number, and actually you can debug it sometimes. You can put a breakpoint here, but that doesn't matter. It's not for this lectures or tutorials. So now that is pretty much what we need to have, what you need to know about variables in data types. I hope you enjoyed this one. Now you know how to assign a value here, and how to assign to a variable value. So that can be string, Boolean, undefined, and a null. So we're gonna use most of these in our practice. You're gonna find this in some code, JavaScript code. So I want you to know that these are the basic variables data types, and they're called primitive, right? So they're calling the primitive variable. So I'm just gonna make it like this in quotations: primitive variables and data types. So if you refresh, it's not gonna be able to see it, right? And this is how we can print it out. Now one more thing, that you can print it out in a different way. So this, if you don't want to use the console log, what you can do, you can alert things. Alert means there will be a alert box, for example, first name. So here you need to pass in the variable or a string here in order to initiate the alert. Now the thing is that when the alert is initiated, this all will be first initiated, and the last thing that it will come is the alert. And look what's happening. The alert will create this sort of box when it's telling us what actually we are passing inside. So alert is a function, and you can see on top it's still spinning, right? It is not finished. After we click OK, it will finish, because it doesn't know, it wait us for an action. So there are a lot of different alerts, and not a lot of different, but there are different alerts. But this is one way to print out the values or result or anything you want. Sometimes when the user clicks something, you want to alert them and say, okay, don't do this because you're going to delete this data permanently. That's why the alerts are there, and probably going to use them in our future lectures. But this is how you can alert. This is how you can console log, which I prefer this one. There's one more when we can prompt these things from the user, but we're gonna do that one. So now you know how to do the alert, console log, and you learn about primitive variables and data types in JavaScript. So thank you very much. I hope I will see you in the next one. Watch the videos before and after and enjoy.